I got a flannel on. Coach Malloy, thank you for that. You read it just like I wrote it for you, Bobby, so thank you. Except for that whole getting kicked out thing. I don't know where that came from. It wasn't in the script. But Lord knows I couldn't contain you. So first of all, on behalf of all of my teammates at Under Armour, and that's what we call them, teammates, and today I'm very proud to tell you that in our 20th year in business, there's more than 13,000 teammates that we have all across the globe that make a difference each and every day. I'm incredibly honored to accept this award and to be back here at something like the Touchdown Club, because this is an event. I walked to the, walking back just outside in the corridor out there before I came back in, and I heard some people overheard him saying is, man, look at this thing. Isn't it great? Just really good people, just really good causes, things happening. And I just want to thank, the people that put this on. So I want to congratulate all of you for making this happen. The Touchdown Club, back in business. Bob Moore, you had a lot to do with it as well. And my brother Stuart had a lot to do with it also. But I want to thank all those organizers for making us come back together in the Military Bowl, etc. But thank you very much for doing that. And I mentioned my brother Stuart because I couldn't be more proud of doing things for our vets, our men and women that are fighting for us overseas and give us the ability to celebrate days like this and not have to worry about bad things happening. And so to Stuart, and as well as the Tayshaw Foundation, way to go with Patriot Point. That thing's a badass project, and we're very proud to have that working. I want to congratulate the award winners, particularly Keenan Reynolds. I thought you had played just an amazing season. So proud to have you, obviously, for United States Naval Academy, and the honor that we have to outfit the midshipmen is one of the greatest distinguishing honors, really, of our company that we get to do and see and experience every year. And in doing that as well, I think, you serve as such a great example to the young men in here and thinking about what is going to happen with you. And I guess we don't have any peewees in here anymore, but thinking about high school, I want to answer that question that you brought up, though, Bob. The difference in my high school education is that I didn't agree with the education style of the Jesuits and thought that the Christian Brothers would serve me much better over at St. John's versus what was happening at Georgetown Prep. So proactively, we made some very important decisions, but it was one of the best decisions of my life, I'll tell you that. And sometimes as a kid, I hadn't figured things out if I was 16 years old or 15 years old, so it was a good kick in the backside that I needed. And I'm so appreciative for Coach Ricka making that phone call. I remember sitting with Father Roach at Georgetown Prep about 10:30 in the morning with my mother, explaining to Father Roach how even Peter had 3 chances. And he was hearing none of it, at which point I went home thinking to myself, it's like 10:45, I go home in the afternoon, I'm sitting there going, oh no, what just happened? And then the phone rings about 11 o'clock, and it says, hey, this is John Ricka. How you doing? Is Kevin there? And he said, how'd you like to come play ball at St. John's? And it was the thing that actually saved my hide when my father came home later that day, and I told him, Dad, I got some good news and some bad news. And good news, I think we're going to go to St. John's, and it's a lot cheaper than prep right now. But today I'm so proud of what happens at St. John's and very involved there. And because of that is the leadership that begins with Jeff Mancabelli, Brian Griffin, our great athletic director, and our new head football coach, and Coach Casamento too. So St. John's is going to be a powerhouse and something to be reckoned with in this area as it's been, but we're going to bring back championships to St. John's, and more importantly, doing it the right way of educating and building strong character young men and women at that school. So that is just getting started for sure. I'm also, something very close to my heart is the University of Maryland and having our new head football coach here and DJ Durkin, and in addition to Coach Durkin, as my wife pointed out, as we sat down at dinner and said, oh, look, one other person brought their wife to this thing as well. And as our spouses engage and involved, but Sarah, welcome to you and welcome to Coach. It's really great to have you here. And, really just a true honor to be here as a part of this group. This past weekend was a pretty good weekend for Under Armour. A lot of great things happening, a lot of terrific exposure. And exposure is something that, you hope and you wish and you pray for, but when it happens, it always feels like it's something brand new. And, first of all, in having a transformational athlete like a Jordan Spieth and seeing what he went through on leading the past 7 rounds of the Masters and breaking the record of Jack Nicklaus's record or Arnold Palmer's record with that and then struggling the way that he did on 12. And I don't know if there's anybody in this room who can't say they ever stood over a golf ball 3 times and kept pouring it in the water. But the way that he recovered from that and finding birdie again and fighting and battling was the thing that, A, made me the most proud. But probably even better than that, and let me finish on Jordan in a second, was the second thing that happened later on that evening. And is when Stephen Curry went out and they beat the San Antonio Spurs in San Antonio for the first time since 1997 and tied the record that the Bulls had set that ended up, obviously the Warriors broke that last night. But one of the things that was probably the neatest about it was just understanding what's been built with Under Armour, what it means to be a part of a team, what being a community is all about. And it was the reaction that Steph Curry had when he heard the news that Jordan struggled at 12. And he fell back on the court when someone had whispered and told it to him, and he was so upset because really his teammate, what I'm most proud of from our company, is his Under Armour teammate had fallen. And he was rooting for him, and he was fighting for him, he was scratching for him, and he was believing in him. You know, one of the things that I get questioned on a lot is that, especially lately, is, you know, how do you guys pick your athletes? How does it happen? And, you know, we're very proud, as Coach Malloy mentioned, you know, we have today the 4 major U.S. sports reigning MVPs plus the PGA Tour Player of the Year, which is the first time any singular brand has ever done that. We've done it with a fraction of the resources that others have. And the question is always, you know, what's the underlying characteristic? And very simply, plain and simple, it always starts with character. Picking the best people. And I mean the kind of people that they hold the door open, they say please and thank you, they're intellectually curious, they're present with you, they really are proud to be a part of the team, they're proud to represent. And across the line, when you mention and talk about, you know, the great athletes that we have, we couldn't be more proud, but most importantly, we couldn't be more proud of the character that they have. You know, when you look and think what that is, it's this idea that we're all here for, because every one of us has been shaped by this game. And beyond just this one sport, it's the idea of being a part of a team. It's wearing a jersey. It's going out with your brothers and fighting each and every day, and your sisters, depending on what the sport is. And you think about what that power means and what it means to be a part of a team. One of my favorite speeches, it actually comes from a former football coach, and now is a commentator on the NFL Network, is Steve Mariucci. But he has this speech that he calls, and he brings him in, and Coach Mariucci, he coaches our All-American football game that we do every year. And the speech is called The Huddle. And he says his favorite part of the football team and the football game is the huddle. Because it's the one place where people from all different backgrounds, all different colors, all different creeds, all different religions, no matter what skill sets, etc., everybody comes to one place. We listen, we hold hands, we call the play, and then we go execute. And you think about the power of what a team is. And again, that's probably the thing I'm most proud of at Under Armour, is building that team. Because at Under Armour, we do have exactly that. We have a great team. We build our company on 4 pillars that we call great product, great stories, great service, and underscoring a very, very great team. You know, the net effect of that is hopefully the result is building the baddest brand on the planet, which is what we're out to do. And as you saw in that video, it ends with this idea of we're just getting started. And we mean that each and every day about how we work and how we operate. And I can tell you as someone who comes from a team is that, look, I didn't know anything about business in particular, but my formation of business when I started was being on a team. And that's why even still today, I keep in my office these whiteboards, these panels, 3 panels across, 5 panels deep, and on them I keep different things, and I keep org charts, magnetic little names, and you slide people up, and you slide people over, and sometimes you slide people down, sometimes you slide people off and throw them in the can. And you think, I'm not that mad at that one, I'm gonna put them back up on the board and give them another shot. But they say things on the whiteboards where you just write the inspiration that really forms the formation of the culture of our company. And it says things like overpromise and deliver, dictate the tempo, walk with the purpose. The most recent thing that I wrote on the whiteboards, it just simply says, we don't have to be right, I just want to win. I don't got to be right. It doesn't have to be our idea. We just want to win. And so much of that winning is culture. And at Under Armour, we've been really blessed to have so much winning. And frankly, it's something that we've come to the point where we actually expect it. And that is something that begins with how we lead. You know, right now, in speaking of leadership, and I'm lucky enough to serve on the board of the National Football Foundation, and I heard Coach Durkin say it earlier as well, is that our sport is under attack. And the quote that I've come back with as I think about the attacks that have been placed on our sport, and we have issues and things that we can get better at. But I got to tell you, no matter what, an America without the sport of football scares me one heck of a lot more than America with it. It's a true honor to be here, and I mean coming back to DC, and when I think about things of how I love this area, I love this area. And I mean including this area from down here in DC to all the way up in Baltimore where we're located now, because I see us as one region, and I know we're that much stronger when we think like that. So that power is something that we're going to build on here in the District of Columbia in the Baltimore region. You know, I love this sport. I really do. Like, I love the sport of football. You know, I'm not going to lie to you, it's my favorite. And there's a great Jeff Immelt quote that he said in this video he did for the Football Foundation. And they're interviewing Jeff Immelt, who is a great football player at Dartmouth University. And they're going and asking him, they're talking about moms, talking about his experience of learning leadership in football. And the video, Jeff Immelt stands there and he says, do you know the hardest thing about running a global company? And he said, acting like I actually don't think football is my favorite sport. And I think it's probably how we all feel. Man, it's talking about the Naval Academy. I love our country. You know, I think our country is great. And I think our country is a symbol of so many great things that are to happen. And first of all, the thing I'm most proud of about Under Armour is that I recognize the symbol that we stand for and we represent. Is that number one, every day we continue to achieve and do things that people probably thought we couldn't do. And finding athletes that 3 years ago you'd never heard of Jordan Spieth or Stephen Curry or Misty Copeland or any of the other great athletes that we've had. Somehow we just find a way. But I'd like, if I leave one message here for hopefully some of the young people, as we think about what it is that we live in a place that's protected for us by men and women fighting and keeping us safe overseas, where someone can grow up in Kensington, Maryland, where just 10 miles from where we sit today in Georgetown or Washington, D.C., with $16,000 in your pocket, you can start a company off an idea. You can use a network of friendships and relationships that you've built over your lifetime, and you can build a business that this year is projected to be just a little short of $5 billion in revenues in 20 years' time. And I'm incredibly proud of what that means and the people that make it happen. One of the saddest things of the narratives of stories that I hear today, especially in an election year as we sit here in D.C. in these political times, is how people, and the idea is out there that more than half of millennials believe that, quote unquote, the American dream is dead. And you think about what that means. The American dream is dead. And the thing that I'm proud to stand in front of is, number one, I love my school where I went to at the University of Maryland and proud of it. And I think it's important to know the three most important jobs in America are not the admissions directors to Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, but that greatness can come from anywhere, and that we're still far short of achieving the brand that we expect to be, but we're going to do it. And I'll challenge anyone that says that the American dream is dead. My challenge back to them would be, I'm just not sure that they're looking in the right places, because a lot of those heroes and dreamers that we have are sitting right here in this room. They're being honored tonight, and many of you are out here in the audience as well. I want to thank the commitments. I want to thank your wallets for giving to these worthy causes of promoting our sport, promoting our game, keeping us running. And I also want to continue to promote the fact of what we're doing with great things and supporting our men and women that fight for us every day. It's my privilege to accept this on behalf of Under Armour. Thank you all very, very much. Have a great night. Thank you.